Welcome everybody to another episode of Fantasy News. I am your disheveled goblin host. This is a wonderful bag of beans, and today we have an awesome lineup of news, with quite a few of them being trailers. But we're gonna go ahead and kick this off with the coverage of the recent kerfuffle around the Red Rising series. Because if you're unaware, on Twitter, Pierce Brown announced a few days ago that they were going to be launching a line of Red Rising NFTs. NFTs, for those of you who are unaware, are non-fungible tokens. Yeah, that didn't make it any clearer, but I'm not going to explain what NFTs are here. This is fantasy news. This was met with nearly universal backlash on Twitter. Notice, I did not say universal backlash. There were some NFT enthusiasts who also appear to be Red Rising fans who were quite excited. The backlash was largely due to the fact that NFTs are seen as very not environmentally friendly, and there is a massive problem within the NFT community that no one can deny, where artists are having their art stolen, and yeah, it's kind of just soured the internet against the idea of anyone doing anything that could be seen as promoting the idea of NFTs at all. As a part of the announcement though, the Solar Society, that has actually since been entirely deleted from Twitter, did say they're going to be planting a bunch of trees to offset the carbon footprint from this whole process. Alas, that's not going to be happening either now. Because after the backlash was processed, I assume through the team and Pierce Brown himself, they announced this project was officially canceled with this letter from Pierce Brown, where yes, he mentioned the fact that the footprint was going to be offset by that plan to plant a bunch of trees, and that all of the art was original. But he understood that the reaction to NFTs as a whole is just not what the Red Rising fans were interested in. And so yes, project's not going to be occurring. Now, as for my thoughts on this, no, I'm not a very big NFT fan. I just don't find it to be anything I want to get involved with. The backlash I found to be a little bit over the top, because there were people just attacking Pierce Brown's character and him as a person over this, which was a little much. Basically, I'm glad the NFT things aren't happening. It wouldn't have bothered me too much if they did, but I agree with the criticism of his fans for pushing him not to do it. I respect the crap out of Pierce Brown for saying, all right, I heard you, I'm not gonna do it. And that's the whole situation. This got sent to me so much, and it's just not that much, aside from Pierce Brown kind of came out looking like a good, reasonable, cool dude. That's the story. I don't know what else you want from me. Oh, and today's sponsor, it's one I'm really excited about, Babbel.
Why are you under the bed?
Anyway, today's video is brought to you by Babbel, the language learning app that's designed to help you start speaking language in as little as 3 weeks. I am dating someone who actually knows Russian, because they lived there for a little bit, so I'm trying to pick it up so I can speak it to them across the breakfast table and surprise them. So far, I've got "Gototem niet da," and that's a lot of fun, and I've just been using it for 1 day. I'm dyslexic, severely so picking up other languages has been very difficult for me my entire life. Aside from some computer languages, it's never actually succeeded. Now, I'm actually kind of feeling like I'm getting there, because these lesson plans are designed by language experts who know about the small minutiae. You get these little hints dropping down that's like, look, here's something that a lot of people forget to mention, and actually is going to help you learn the language a lot better. Bam! I love it. So if you would like to get 65% off your Babbel plan, go ahead and check out the link in the description down below, and you can start these 10-minute, super interactive, all kinds of different approaches to making sure the information sticks lessons today. So I'd recommend you do that now. Back to the fantasy news. We're gonna move on from that though into some positive news, because N.K. Jemisin's new book has had its cover revealed. And you just know it's gonna be a good year for fantasy if N.K. Jemisin is going to be published. And the book is going to be titled The World We Make. And this is the second and final book in the Great Cities duology. Duology is such a cool word. It sounds so much better than trilogy to me, and trilogy sounds good. Duology. But in exciting book release news, the Folio Society has announced that, or they've hinted at, come on, we know what this is, that they're going to be doing a Lord of the Rings Folio edition. So Wednesday, April 20th, we get to see what their versions of the Lord of the Rings will look like now. Give it to me, please. I want it. In fact, Folio Society, I will give you this full bag of beans for 3 sets of your new Lord of the Rings editions. I think it's a rather fair price. Now, I know you're worried, Daniel, you're not actually going to give us any beans for this. You're crazy. No. I'm feeling generous today. It's a limited edition, by the way. Super premium, one in existence bag of beans. And yeah, I'll give you them for 3. That's a steal. Folio Society. Steal, I say. Now, in terms of ramifications news, this actually might be the biggest story of the day in terms of it, because Hasbro, the company who owns Dungeons & Dragons, now has bought D&D and Beyond. D&D and Beyond, for those of you who don't know, is a D&D campaign like management website where DMs can just kind of have all the characters and maps and everything splayed out, and you can play together there. It's truly a wonderful website. So Hasbro, if you do anything to screw that up, I will smack you with a bag of beans. Like, I genuinely mean this. Don't f up D&D and Beyond. It's a very awesome website, and if you try to get some like, leave it like it is. We also had a video game trailer drop for a game called Hell Is Us, and it was personally my least favorite kind of trailer that still enamors me, because it's just like a bunch of really cool cinematic shots. You don't get too much about the actual game, and it ends, which I'm such a child, because every time it makes me go, I'm not gonna get, you didn't show me the game. I'm not excited. I'm a little excited because it's so atmospheric. What am I supposed to do? Not be into it? And in TV show news, we also had a trailer drop for Stranger Things Season 4. And overall, I think it was a pretty good trailer. It looks like they're escalating things yet again. I doubt it'll be as good as Season 1, but it's probably still gonna be interesting enough and worth watching. I'm fine with that. And yeah, it's gonna be better than most things on television. That being said, this line in the trailer,
a war is coming.
People who make trailers, you don't actually have to use that line. I know you've put it in every single trailer ever made, but you can stop that. And then in the weirdest trailer of the day news, we had the trailer drop for Crimes of the Future. And this visual is going to live in my head forever now. I would give away this bag of beans just to never have that visual in my head again. And in a last-minute wiki news update, it seems that Dungeons & Dragons is going to have its first live announcement event on the 21st. So if you would like to go ahead and see like their Nintendo Direct equivalent, D&D Direct, go ahead and tune on in on that day. I'm pretty excited about that. It's cool to see D&D doing this good. I've talked really weird this entire insert. And in a story I have recorded and re-recorded my opinions on because I am just not entirely sure how I feel, but screw it. Let's just state both sides equally, and I'll ask you how you feel about the situation. CD Projekt Red has officially come out and said that Cyberpunk 2077 is done, in the sense that it is up to the point, or nearly up to the point, of being the game they promised originally upon delivery. Now, that actually is quite impressive to me. They did not abandon, they stuck to their wheel, and they drove down that highway to the point where they are nearly at the promised game, especially when it comes to solving bugs and adding in a few key features fans really wanted to see. Note, it is not 100% there. What has kind of set my teeth on edge, though, is that they have claimed they're going to be moving on to other projects, and with the new Witcher coming out, a lot of people have assumed that means they're going to stop working on Cyberpunk 2077 and just move over to Witcher. No, there's actually a big update planned for Cyberpunk 2077 for 2023. This does not mean the game is going to be abandoned, though I do wonder, after so much effort being put into this game, how eager the company is going to be to move on to other bigger cash cows that they'll be able to release in a new game and make that bigger stack. Personally, I know there's a lot of different angles to this. There's a developer angle, and no matter what, kudos to the developers for sticking to this game and actually getting it there. That is not an easy task. A lot of them were blamed when it's not their fault that the game was put out before it was done, and I think it's incredible that this game has reached the state that it has. I'll still occasionally turn it on and have a good time with Cyberpunk 2077. Obviously, my overall opinion towards CD Projekt Red is worse than it used to be, especially with the accusations of crunch that happened, that they're reporting allowed no longer to happen, but who knows? I am frustrated and still very attached, because this was the game I was the most hyped for ever in my life, and it was awesome to play and a failure to play. Anyway, passing it on to you, what angle do you most feel on? Or are you just, because the situation's as complex as it is, kind of stuck where I am, where you're like, it's just muddy? And in the final story of the day, this is genuinely the happiest fantasy news has made me. No, ever. I'm just gonna say this is the best story ever covered on fantasy news, and I'm so excited to talk about this because it spans like most of my life, this story, and it's finally come to an end after 20 years. The studio behind Scrat finally animated him getting his acorn as they send off for the character. This shot is a farewell. Oh, look at him. He's eating his little nut. He's eating his little nut. He is. It's so nice. Oh. It turned me British, I'm so happy. Anyway, like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you'd like to support what I do here. Oh, that's slipping into something else now, it is. And I have books you could check on art, as well as some merch. But if none of that interests you and you'd just like to see more fantasy news in the future, you can join the Discord server, hit the Fantasy News channel, and post whatever news you'd like to see me cover right in there. Now, I get why I probably just lost my entire European audience, and I'm gonna see a few thousand subs leave today minimum, but to make it up to you, and you know, as an olive branch, a peace offering, I would like to offer you an NFT of a bag of beans.